Welcome to no longer the Two Balls, One Basket podcast. We are now called the Playbook Sports Podcast. And of course, it is presented by Playbook Sports. It will no longer be called the Two Balls, One Basket podcast because I killed it. It's dead. It's murdered. As always, I am your host, Jordan, though. And with me today is member of the Playbook Sports Network and the host of the NBA Hangout podcast, Brandon John, or you may know him as Taskmaster.
What up, what up, what up? How you doing? I like to see the rebrand. Everything looks clean. I'm ready to get to it.
All right, I apologize ahead of time. If you hear a cat meowing, it's because he's a bitch and he needs attention, and I'm not giving it right now. All right, but we won't go very long. There's just a couple of things I want to talk about, and probably the most important thing right now is our Miami Heat. We are heading into the postseason, but we got to go through the play-in first. So the Miami Heat ended up as the 8th seed. Therefore, they will be playing in a 7-8 play-in tournament game. We were dealt the Philadelphia 76ers Wednesday at 7. We are in Philadelphia. Let's talk a little bit about that. How do we feel about that? We'll start with that.
I'm actually feeling, the more that I've thought about it, the more I thought about the matchup and came to the realization that that is who we're going to be playing, and there is no more escape routes out of the play-in. I'm okay with it. I think the way that Philly kind of plays and the way the Heat want to play, it kind of leads to what Miami wants to do. So in that sense, I'm okay with it. Obviously, you have superstar over there with Joel Embiid. That you got to take care of him. Tyrese Maxey recently has been able to get off on the Heat. So I'm looking to see what Spo will do to mitigate that and like what lines he can play with. I think he has a lot to play with. It's just a matter of seeing what he ends up going with.
So I kind of like the matchup because I didn't know this personally. I saw it all over Twitter. Apparently, the Heat were better on the road this year than at home.
Yeah.
Which, now that I'm thinking back at it, it did seem that way because the Heat were putrid at home.
Yeah.
This matchup kind of sucks because, we split the season series, but we never really got the matchup with a healthy Jimmy Butler, a healthy Tyler Hero, a healthy Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
There was always something going on whenever we played the Sixers, whenever the Sixers played the Heat. So this is going to be like the first time where, and, scratch that. It's not even going to be the first time because apparently Terry Rozier, we don't know. Duncan Robinson, we don't know, he's likely. Kevin Love, we don't know. So we're still banged up. Joel Embiid is also banged up. He left the last game with an injury. He ended up coming back. But, that guy is never healthy, especially come this time of the year.
Exactly.
So I don't exactly know what to expect from this matchup. Do you think the Heat are ready, and do you think they can pull out a win? I know you just talked about it on your podcast, so it's already fresh in your head.
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely a pass for them to sneak out a win. Like I think within the past, with the way that the Miami has like to play them with like blitzing Joel Embiid, trapping him, getting the ball out of his hands, making him the playmaker. I think all that stuff will still matter and still work. The issue comes that now when you're taking the ball out of his hands, Tyrese Maxey's become this level of player that when the defense is already bent, he's really good at breaking it down even further and really exploiting that. So really just tracking how they're able to mitigate Maxey in those situations. I'm not as concerned as Embiid. Embiid's going to do Embiid things, and they're going to try and get the ball out of his hands. It's what they can do to kind of limit Tyrese Maxey. And you mentioned Rozier might be hurt, so I wonder if that gives more opportunity for a guy like Delon Wright to kind of mix it in there, so Miami can stay in that defensive identity and keep the pace at like a slower tempo than when it's fast and Maxey gets to go in transition and gets going. That's when things start to go a little haywire for the Heat.
See, I think I'm with you on that one. Obviously, Joel Embiid is a generational talent. The guy was an MVP last year.
Yeah.
He probably would have won it again this year if he was healthy.
Yeah.
But he's not exactly the one that worries me because we all know Joel Embiid's going to get his 30. Tyrese Maxey's the one that worries me. And for some reason, it's never the team's best player that worries us as Heat fans, which is like a psychotic thing to think. It's always the second best player or like a random role player that freaks us out.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey, and I'm going to name another one a little later on in the podcast, but Tyrese Maxey is the one that we need to worry about. I don't know if we're going to play DeLon Wright because as soon as that playoff time comes, Eric Spoelstra cuts that rotation and he sticks to a strict 8.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see Caleb Martin on this kid like glue. He's never going to leave him. And usually, when we play the Bucks, for example, Spo likes to mirror Bam's minutes with Giannis's minutes. I think we're going to see that here with Caleb Martin and Tyrese Maxey because, Joel Embiid's good, but he's not going for 50 on Bam. We could talk about size difference. We could talk about, Bam's a dirty player. He's not going for 50 on Bam. Will he get 30? Of course he's going to get 30. 30 is the absolute floor for this guy. Bam getting 20 is the equivalent to Joel Embiid getting 35. And it's just facts. I know that might upset some people, but it's just facts.
Yeah. No, it's the truth. No, it's the truth. And that's not where my concern would be. Now on the offensive end, I think the way that the Philly likes to defend, I know they have Nick Nurse here, so they're willing to switch it up a little bit more. But when you do have Embiid in there, when you do have Paul Reed in there, when Embiid's resting, you still have them playing a lot of drop coverage. You're still having those pockets where Tyler Hero can exploit the defense, get into his pull-up game, which he's gone into a little bit more since he's come back from his injury. If Rozier plays, that leaves more opportunity for him. Duncan Robinson the same. And even Caleb's been doing a little bit more of that, whether, some fans like that, some fans don't like that. But bottom line is that's where the shots are going to come, and he's going to need to take those shots and shoot them with confidence. So I think offensively it is a better matchup than when they play one of these younger, fast, like Hawks, Pacer type teams that just want to get out and run. Philly, with the way that they like to play a little bit more traditional and want to get their defense set, I think it allows Miami to see what the defense is giving them and let Jimmy sort of attack where he needs to and find shooters and find open gaps where he can.
So now let's do this. We already said Maxey, but if there's one more player on the 76ers that kind of worried you, who would it be? I got mine locked and loaded.
See, I'm in between two minds. So there's two guys. I feel like one's gonna be yours. So I'll go with the other one. I'll let you keep the one. I'm gonna go with Tobias because Tobias has secretly had a pretty decent year, and I now I know for sure who the other guy is, and I'm pretty sure I know exactly where you're going. But no, Tobias has had a sneakily good year this year. Like, he shot the ball well throughout the season. He's kind of been reliable while Embiid has been out. His usage goes down when Embiid is there, but he's still an option that they do look to, and he can hit an open shot. And if things start to get fast again, like him in transition, finding open shots and stuff like that can be a back burner. I'm expecting to see Haywood Highsmith in this matchup quite a bit. So I think him being out there to kind of guard him doesn't worry me as much. But let's hear your guy, because I have a feeling we might be somewhat on the same page there.
It's Kelly Oubre.
Yeah. It has to be. It has to be Kelly. Yeah.
That guy is like a freak. Yeah. Especially when he plays Miami. It's just every three goes in. He gets these crazy dunks that just fires up the crowd. And that sucks because we're in Philadelphia. They feed off that crowd.
They feed off that. And
just as crazy as Boston fans.
Yeah. And when he's cooking like that, when he's hitting his shots, when he's getting to the rim, he starts to play defense. He starts to really believe he's a defender. And he starts to play aggressive defense, which can, rattle some guys. Like, dare I say, a guy like Tyler Hero doesn't love being like someone in their chest like that. And I feel like Oubre, once he's going, is a guy that will start to do that as the game goes on.
And I hope Tyler Hero is ready, because Kelly Oubre is going to be the one checking him.
100%. And Tyler has to be ready.
Back to you, Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris going off in this game, it will simply kill me. I cannot deal with it, because then I got to hear on Twitter from fans, Tobias Harris over me. I can't deal with it.
No, we're not hearing that. But there is another guy that could play a role. Former Heat player is over there. Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry. What do you think his impact's going to be on this game? Like, do you think he's going to play a prominent role? Do you think he's going to just quiet in the shadow? Do you think he's going to take it personally that we dumped him over there? Dumped him to Charlotte, really.
I would rather Tobias Harris go off than Kyle Lowry.
Oh, wow.
That's how we are in a shit place right now. This was the worst possible matchup for us, not even because of the talent, just because of those two douchebags. Oh my goodness. But Kyle Lowry, people seem like, he's gotten better. He's with his old coach, yada, yada, yada. He's been doing the same exact thing there that
his numbers are the exact same.
Yeah. He gets to play more freely, I guess, because Nick Nurse is so comfortable with him. Like, they won a championship together. I still don't see it. I think he's the exact same player that we had. He does the exact same thing there. It's just over there, it looks like he shoots a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure if he's going to impact this game at all. If he does, as I said before, it would simply kill me.
Simply. No, I personally like I don't foresee Kyle doing too much in this game. Like I think it's more so it's gonna be a max. It's gonna be a max. Like, it's gonna come down to what they can do to limit Max. And I think you're right on the head with like I think Hill's gonna be out there a lot. I think we're gonna get some Haywood Highsmith out there throwing on him as well. I think you just you do the same thing you do with Embiid as you always do. You blitz him when you can. You double him at different points of attack. Like sometimes when he dribbles, sometimes on the catch. Keep him off guard there. Embiid has been better this year in passing out of those traps as well. So the rotations on the back line just got to be a little bit better. How do you think Jovic looks in this matchup?
So that was going to be the next thing I brought up. I wanted to know what you thought about the rotation. Do you think Jovic, I think he's played well enough to where he's earned to keep that starting spot.
Yeah.
Do you think Jaime gets any run?
I think he gets run. Especially if I think it matters if Rozier is healthy or not. If Rozier is not healthy, then I think we for sure see Jaime. If Rozier is healthy, I think it's a limited run. I think they put him in there. We see if he's hitting a shot or not. We see if he's doing like what he's been able to do against Toronto these last couple of games. And if not, I think it's going to be a quick leash on him. Because right now it's winning time. Like it's no more time for experiment, anything like that. Like I love Jaime as a player personally. But if his offense isn't clicking in the way that we needed to, I could see there being a quick leash on him and Spo just looking elsewhere in a game like this, just because you need to get one. And also you don't want to drop this game. In my mind, if you're Miami, because you don't want to put yourself in another single elimination, even if you do come out of that, you end up playing Boston, and that is an unfavorable matchup. I know we beat them last year in the playoffs, but this is a different year than last year, and I would strongly advise not going against Boston in the early rounds.
I love that you brought that up because this is what I've been telling people. When people ask me like, oh, what do you think about this game? I'm saying this is a must-win game. It's not
100%.
because like we have anything to prove. The Heat have nothing to prove. Whether the media is with us, whether the fan base is with us, the Heat have nothing to prove to us. They show us every year they're fine. But you cannot get Boston in the first round. And it's not because I'm scared of Boston. I think some of these fans are taking what most people say, like, a 5 reasons or even a playbook where we tweet like all this bullshit about the Celtics. We're just screwing around for views. We don't genuinely mean most of this stuff. You don't want to play Boston until as late as possible.
Exactly.
Why would you have to go through, first of all, 2 play-in games to then go have to beat the 1 seed?
Best team in the NBA.
You're right. We did beat them last year. It's not the same team. They have Drew Holiday. But Jimmy had 56. Okay, it doesn't matter. Drew Holiday's still fantastic.
Elite, yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis, he's going to get hurt. Well, he's not hurt now.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum turns the ball. Who cares? Jason Tatum thinks he's in the MVP conversation. Jaylen Brown can't go right. Okay, whatever. He can't go left. But he still scores 30 points every time he plays us. These are all funny jokes, but in reality, where we all live, you don't want to play them if you don't have to right away.
Exactly. It's not the smart thing to do. Like you don't set yourself up for that, to go through a whole season just to, be played for fodder in the first round, especially like you said, you go through 2 playing games. You're already at a disadvantage. The second playing game, I think, would be on like Friday.
You play Sunday.
And then you'd play Sunday. You have like your 1 day's rest from here on out. And we have an older team. You have guys like Jimmy. You have Rozier banged up. You have Duncan banged up. You want to get this done quickly. You want to be able to get as much preparation to face a New York team, which is feisty. You can't take them for granted. They're a good team. They're a good team, but they're not Boston. They're not Boston, and you could definitely beat the Knicks if you get them in the first round series. Boston, I wouldn't, we'll see if I get more confidence, more guts as we get closer to that time, but I just don't want to face. I'm not here for that Boston series right now.
If we get to that point where, it's solidified that we're going to end up playing Boston, okay, I could talk myself into fuck Boston. Like I'll bring back fuck Boston.
Of course, it's easy.
But like right now, I have a choice. I have a choice between the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics in the first round. If you're picking the Boston Celtics, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you're sad.
I don't give a shit how confident you are. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he would lose. I'm not saying that he would get swept. I think I said it exactly today. I said, you ideally want to win this first playing game because If you win this first play-in game, you have all the more chance at a run. If you have to play Boston in the first round, it's in God's hands. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Boston fans don't know what's going to happen. Miami fans don't know what's going to happen. Jimmy Butler doesn't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows. Anything could happen if you play Boston in the first round.
Yeah, it's really a pick 'em at that point, and stay away from that as long as possible. I will say the last thing. I don't know how much more time we have, but the last 2 weeks, I know Heat fans have been a little bit down on the prospects of the Heat this year, but in the last 2 weeks, Miami has been one of the better teams. Like they've had a top 8 offense, which is shocking. I know.
Yeah, that was crazy. I saw that.
It is true. We have a top 8 offense and a top 5 defense, which has pretty much been the standard for the whole year. So I think going into this game, you're going to be the underdog, but you mentioned earlier they're better on the road anyway. I think that's good for them. Jimmy mentioned
they're better as underdogs.
They're better as underdogs as well. I think Jimmy mentioned
crazy.
I think after one of the stupid. They always find some way to flip something that just doesn't feel right, but it works for them every year.
Like
every year, something
in a basketball team.
Yeah. I think Jimmy mentioned after one of the Toronto games that one of the reasons why they were struggling at home is he feels like they just get comfortable. They get very comfortable at home, and they feel like the game's in their hands, and they relax, take their foot off the gas. The team storms back, and it's too hard to put the foot back on and go full throttle again. So I think on the road, it just gives them that edge. Jimmy's going to be yapping with the crowd. I think it's a good environment. He has Kyle over there you could talk to. You have all these dynamics at play that I think just brings that level of Jimmy that we need to see. And honestly, playoff Jimmy, been talking about playoff Jimmy. I think this is the time we need to see playoff Jimmy come back. Just at least for this game. He can take game 1 off in the New York series, but at least for the play-in game, I think we need to see it off the bat.
Boy, I'm telling you right now, if we don't see a 30-something point game from Jimmy Butler on Wednesday, the fan base is trading him to Detroit.
Yeah. in 2 seconds, he'll be out of here.
In 2 seconds, he'll be like, oh, don't even play the second play. Just trade
him for Cade.
All right, so we'll talk about 2 more things. X factor for the Heat going into Wednesday's game.
I think for the Heat, I think it's going to be Haywood Highsmith. I think what he's going to have to do on the defensive end, both guarding up at times, probably having to blitz and traps at times on Joel, and I'm assuming he's going to take some of the Maxey matchups as well. So I think him on both ends on that front is going to be very important. And if he's able to bring it on that end, I think the things look better for the Heat. As well on offense, I mentioned this with Tony the other day on our podcast, but Highsmith just seems to have this he doesn't care. Like he doesn't care in clutch situations. Like he's willing to take those big shots. It doesn't phase him in one bit. A couple of the games when he'd have been trying to make their comebacks and trying to get themselves, or even try to give a dagger, it's been Haywood Highsmith has been the one to start that run off. He's been the one not scared to take the 3 and just shoot it, and it goes in some of the time, most of the 40% on the year. So if he's able to do it on both ends, hit some shots early, get his rhythm going so he can stay on the court and defend, I think he's the biggest X factor for me at this point for the Heat.
Okay. That's not the route I thought you were going at all. I thought you were going to go the Jovic route.
Oh, I'm still, I'm there with Jovic. Like I'm 100% here. I'm here for his improvement. I know I was lower.
You're the one that was with me on that.
Yeah, I was lower on him to start the year. He wasn't defending. God calls spade a spade. He wasn't defending, but now he's defending. He's fixing those things. I just don't know if the game gets close. I don't see Spo trusting him at all. Like full stop. Like I think he just trusts someone else. Right or wrong, that's not for me to say. That's for Spo. That's for Spo's decision. But I just don't think. I think if the game is tight, I don't think we see much Jovic unless he's having a lights out shooting performance, which it can happen.
I'm a little fantastic postseason run away from Jovic from owing him a super large
Yeah, you and me both.
My X factor, and I feel like it might be a cop out. It's not going to be Jimmy or Bam, but it's Tyler Hero.
Okay, no, I like that.
And the reason for that is come playoff time, your 3-point shooting means almost everything. If you're not going to hit your threes, you're not going to win, especially with the way the Heat play. The Heat, if they shoot the 3 well, they're virtually unbeatable. If they shoot the 3 like shit, they look like a high school team.
Yeah.
Duncan, whether he plays or not, we know he's not 100%, but we expect that from Duncan. Tyler Hero being our second best 3-point shooter, he's going to have to knock shots down. He's going to have to pick up the scoring load if Terry's not there, because Bam struggles when he plays against Embiid. I'm also thinking of this as if we're going to see a playoff Jimmy performance because, it's playoff time.
Yeah, we have to expect that at this point.
It's time for Tyler Hero to prove that he belongs here. The fan base should change their thoughts on him. I know he was injured. This is going to be, and I don't count the bubble run because he had 2, 3, 4 months in between. This is going to be his first healthy postseason.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Knock on wood, he doesn't get hurt again.
Yeah. No, I think Tyler's going to be, sorry, continue.
He's going to have to kill that defense. He's going to have to make Kelly Oubre realize and be like, all right, buddy, relax. You had a couple cool dunks, but you can't check me. He's going to have to prove that, like, okay, well, you guys think Tyrese Maxey's this big shot, which, he fucking is. Tyler Hero's going to be like, you know what? I'm a big shot. Like, let me get the ball. Like, I can do this.
I'm from Kentucky. Why can I do
it? Like, Kentucky makes guards. You got 2 Kentucky guards going at it. Tyler Hero, he's got a lot to prove on Wednesday in my eyes.
I think that's right. I think that if there's a player on the Heat who has the most riding on them this whole run, whether it's just a couple playing games or if it's a full-fledged playoff run, I think it's Tyler Hero. Like, we didn't get to see it last year. He got hurt in 2022 when they went to the conference finals. 2021 is like a blur. It doesn't even count. As you said, 2020 is a rookie, is weird circumstances. You had all that layoff. So I think this is the run that Tyler needs to have, and I think it does need to start tomorrow. He needs to come out firing. He needs to come out with that aggression. Mm-hmm. If his shot's not dropping, you need to see him still attack and get to the basket and make plays for others, because that's the one thing that's been good since he's been coming back, is that even if his shot is it took a couple games for it to come back. And in that time, he was making good reads with his passes. He was able to find some players. He was able to get to the rim and do some things there. So if he's able to continue that trend and not let that just be a season thing and let that carry over into postseason type atmosphere, I think that's very promising. And it's the type of thing, the type of boost that the Heat will need going into this run.
He's also improved a lot on defense. He's been reading the passing lanes lately. He hasn't been like that switch hunter that people usually go for.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, if you're on the court with Highsmith,
there's always going to be somebody.
Yeah. He, even if they do hunt him, like, I'm not like, oh shit, like I used to be. I'm like, all right, Tyler, show me what you got.
Yeah. Just bring some help.
So that's another thing to be happy about going into this game.
Yeah. I think even to that point, like we mentioned earlier, there's going to be a lot of like blitzing and trapping and stuff like that. That backline and reading those lanes is going to be very important. I think, like you said, Tyler's been much better at that this year in general, the full season this year. So I think that'll be an important factor, which leads to your X factor into this game.
All right, we got one more topic and then we're going to close out. Keep it short today. Jimmy Butler. The fan base has been completely not okay with him lately. I give him the benefit of the doubt because I think he's the love of my life. But do you think Jimmy Butler has one more playoff Jimmy run in him? Because he hasn't shown it at all this year, really. He's had a game or two good back-to-back, but he hasn't put together a little spree of 5, 6, 7 games where you're just like, okay, this guy is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's only had like 2 games here and there, and I could tell because when he does have like an extended period, like 5 games or so, I usually do a video on it, and I haven't had the opportunity to do that because he hasn't had those type of games. So I think we're going to see it in a much more contained way, if that makes sense. Like, I think we'll see playoff Jimmy in spurts within a game. I don't think we're getting it for a full series like we did for the Bucks and for most of for the Knicks series until he got hurt. I think we're going to get moments, sort of like how we got in the Boston series. Like, he had moments with Grant Williams. He had moments here and there where he would pick up the team and like hit crucial buckets here and there. I think what needs to happen, though, is he needs to be aggressive and get into the basket. He needs to apply pressure at the rim. We need to see that. How that translates to him scoring or whatnot, that's how that translates. But we need to see that he's actually attacking the basket. He's willing to get to the rim, willing to put his body into guys, and because you need him, but you're gonna need to get some guys in foul trouble in this game too. Like, if you can get Embiid 2 quick fouls, if you can get any of these guys quick fouls, their depth isn't as great as Miami's depth in my mind. So I think he's gonna be huge. I think he can do that. I think he's been smart with the way he's trying to manage his body. I didn't realize that most of the games he missed this year wasn't due to injuries, a lot more personal stuff that he dealt with this year. So physically he shouldn't be too out of it. So I think he has another run in him. I don't think we're going to see the levels that we saw last year, but I think we're going to see a level that we'll need. And I think this is more of a, I don't know. We'll see. I think we're going to see Bam kind of take some of that slack that Jimmy might leave. So if Jimmy comes down a bit, I think we see Bam taking a bit more of that step forward. I know last couple of weeks, Bam's been a little inconsistent here and there, but we know that he's been adding stuff to his game. He's added the 3-point ball. Whether the defense or not reacts to that and starts stepping out to him, we'll see. But I think the mentality that he has had this year of him being a scorer, I think that's going to pay dividends come one of these playoff series when it's time, when it needs to be time. Hopefully lessening Jimmy's load.
I think Jimmy's got another run in him. And I'm not saying that just because I'm biased and I told you like I'm in love with the guy. I do think we're going to see it different this year. It's not going to be, give me the ball, get the fuck out of the way. He's not going to go off against the Bucks like he did in game, I think it was 4. Yeah, when he scored 20 points in a span of 2 minutes, then he went to the bench and he came back in, scored another 25. He's not going to do that. I do think he's going to start the game out super aggressive. He's going to try to get to the line, try to set the tone. And then he's going to do Jimmy Butler things. He's going to get into the passing lane. He's going to get steals. He's going to shoot more threes because that gets us going. Yeah. And then depending on the script of the game, it's like, okay, if everybody's struggling, okay, time to turn up. If everybody's playing well, that's the other thing. People complain that he doesn't score 30 when the team wins by 40.
Yeah, that's
it doesn't matter how he plays at that point. The team wins. And that's the type of basketball he wants. He doesn't want to do shit, and he wants to win by 50.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to have trust in his guys. He wants to make sure his guys know that they can be relied upon to hit crucial shots. And I think they set the tone for that. Jimmy set the tone for that. Like, he's basically set the tone this season. Like, look, you don't know what you're going to get from me. So you guys need to worry about yourselves and make sure that we're okay as a team, as a unit here together. But yeah, I could definitely.
I had this theory last year. I'm like, Jimmy Butler, the reason he doesn't turn up is because he gives the team the entire season to figure out if they're with the shit or not. And if he goes completely nuclear, he knows that they're not with the shit. Last year, he knew the team was not with the shit, so he was with the shit.
He was with the shit. Yeah, no, I feel that. And they need that edge because they lost some of those guys. They had PJ, they had Lowry, those like bickering guys. They lost some of that. So I think Jimmy needs to take that front as well. So I'm here for it. I can't wait for that game on Wednesday. Like these last couple of weeks, man, I've been like kind of just watching the games as just not really feeling them because it's the end of the season. Like I want the real season to start, right? So I'm excited for this game Wednesday, and I'm excited to see which Jimmy we get.
Yeah, I'd be texting with Ray and David and Joey, and I'd be like, God, I fucking hate that we have to talk about the Heat tonight.
Shout out to those guys, man. They went through it this season, man.
They went through it, and I've told them time and time again. I'd be like, you guys need a break. These people are going to give you fucking mental illness.
Yeah. They give me mental illness. I'm not even in there all the time.
All right, we're gonna end on this note. Wednesday, Heat win, Heat lose.
They're winning by 10.
Winning by 10?
11. That can't be an even number.
What are we? We're plus 4.5. I got us winning by 5.
All right. Yeah, we'll take that. We're taking that. I have no worries about this game for whatever reason.
Bold prediction here. Tyler's going for 32.
32 from Tyler. If there's a team, man, this is the team for him to get 30. I think we get double from Bam. And yeah, I think we get 25 plus from Tyler. And I think we get near triple-double from Jimmy.
I like a triple-double. I don't like a 30-point triple-double. I'm thinking maybe like a 15.
Yeah, something like that with like 3-4 steals. Something like that.
All right. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say before I let you go?
No, just everyone, when you get the chance, you could check out the NBA Hangout podcast on all your stuff, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. You can follow us at the NBA Hangout. You can follow me at BJAY93_. That's all I got.
All right, make sure you follow us on Twitter at PlaybookSN. Visit our website, playbookSN.com. Playoffs are here. We're pushing content constantly. I'm going to be pushing a lot of Florida Panther playoff content this season. Remember, we're not two balls, one basket anymore. Killed it. Brandon killed it. He was like, I hate that name. Stab, stab, stab.
Yeah. Gotta get that out of here. Playbook Sports.
All right, my guy. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you. Peace.